today we got to play this game.
Sanssouci.
So, but before we get started, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell because board games are amazing and that is what we do here. Today is a bit of a puzzler. Randy, tell us more about this particular game.
Sanssouci was released in 2013. It has a Board Game Geek rating of 7.1 currently and a Board Game Geek rank of 1644. It's a 2 to 4 player game and it averages 30 to 45 minutes in length, which was probably about right. Age 8 and up, it is a pretty simple puzzle game, so I think that's fine. Designed by Michael Kiesling, who we've got lots of games from, but Azul being probably the most notable. Art by several people, Sergio Chavez, Julian Delval, Harald Liesk, which I know we've seen that name a lot lately, and Andreas Roca. It's published by Ravensburger, and it's currently out of print, but you can find copies of it on Board Game Geek in the geek market for $35 for a good copy and $55 for a like new in the US. And there's other countries that have different prices as well.
Yeah, okay, all right. So quality pieces, I don't think there's a lot here. We do have weird looking meeples.
Yeah, well, the cardboard does have a linen finish to it on the expansion pieces, and I guess some slight
a little
on the
bit
tokens or the tiles.
Yeah, there's a little bit, not crazy.
But for some reason these expansion boards are significantly linen finished, whereas the others are not. So
yeah, well, maybe because it will help it from reduced sliding.
Maybe the cards are definitely not. They're smooth.
Yeah, they're maybe a little thin.
Yeah.
But you really only use them.
Yeah, you shuffle them once at the beginning of the game, and then you just draw from it.
Yeah.
So it's not a lot of shuffling.
But again, overall, I don't think there's absolutely anything about this. So I'm thinking 6.
Yeah, maybe that. Maybe 5.5 to 6, probably.
Yes, yeah. All right, so now let's move on to theme. So the theme is you have an estate and you're building this gorgeous garden. However, I will say, I don't think you'll be building like a row of mazes or a
on your personal taste. Maybe you like to have all your stuff lined up. You know, maybe you're anal retentive like me, and you want everything lined up in its place.
No. I'm not saying I won't want everything symmetrical, but my thing would be symmetrical. Like
if I had 4 labyrinths, I'd have them all lined up in a row too.
No, I don't think so.
I probably would.
You maybe.
Yes.
Me, no. I'd have one on this side and one on that side, and like do symmetricality, but I don't think I'd have it all in a row. Anyway, so sorry, little takeaway from the theme. But overall, you're supposed to be building a garden, although the garden's a bit repetitive in my viewpoint, but we'll let it go. So theme-wise, don't think it's that heavy.
No, definitely not. I mean, there's no backstory in it. It just directly says, build who can create the most majestic garden. That's your theme.
Yeah, but it's not even... Like, it would have been interesting if, like, you're looking for, like, sections. Oh, you're doing a maze next to a statue next to something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of just a straight pathway down, that seemed kind of lame to me.
Yeah, there's definitely nothing to the story on it. And there's no rhyme or reason. You're just trying to line up things as a puzzler.
Yeah, so what would you give it a score-wise on the theme?
Probably a 5. I don't think it's...
Yeah, I mean,
anything more than that.
I agree. All right, so next step will be Rulebook. Now, it didn't take you long to read the rules.
No, the Rulebook is only. Oh well, first of all.
Oh, you don't like those.
It's a full,
but it's only 3 pages.
It's only 6 pages in length, but still, I don't like this kind of layout. So yeah, not happy with the layout, but the actual contents are very easy to read. There's a lot of pictures as examples, and the game is not complex at all. So it's a very simple read, simple teach game. But I do like the fact, which when we get to gameplay, we'll talk about that there's an expansion built in that makes it more challenging. So just playing the base game, it's a pretty simple game. I like that there's another level to it.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that one rolls. All right, so now let's talk about gameplay.
Oh, we didn't rate the rules.
Oh, how was this?
So I'm going to go ahead and give them a 7. I think they're fine. There's nothing wrong with them. They're easy to read. The font is good. Although they put a lot in italics for apparently no reason. But,
well, they're just trying to keep it interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so now let's talk about the rules for the game. So the game is basically you are handed 2 purple cards. Those are your end of game victory conditions, bonuses. Basically, you get to trigger 2 different rows again. So they tell you the 2 rows that will be triggered again. Columns. What did I say? Rows?
Mm-hmm.
I lied. All right, so then you also have a deck of cards. So depending, you get your player colors. So I get the deck of cards. So basically, at the beginning of the game, you draw, you mix them up, like so.
Or you just throw them across the table.
I mean, hey, I do that. All right, so you have 2 cards. You're gonna end up placing 1. So basically, this card is basically 2 color. So I'm gonna look at the white row and the blue row and pick from there. And this would all be filled. It's just not. There you go. All right, so I get to choose a white or a blue, and I realize, well, I want a blue because I'm at this particular point, I'm at the end of the game. And so, hey, I'm going to choose this little swirly swirl. Now, oh, lo and behold, if I could, I would be placing the blue swirly wheel on top of the blue swirly wheel space because there's rows and columns, and you got to match them up and meet them, and that's where it goes. But if it's taken, like it is in this particular round, I get to either place it in any of the spiral or any of the blue sections. So, right, I pick a row or the column and place it there. In this case, I'll place it on the blue because that makes sense because there were some victory points. All right, so I'm going to place here. And so then I'm going to draw another card.
Well, after you place, you have the option to move one of your meeples down. It can move anywhere on the board, up or whatever, but it has to end its move at least 1 space down and in the same column it started in. So as long as it can reach and get down, you can move it along the path.
Yeah, so like this is like the longest path I can almost go, and it makes it back, so therefore, and then I would trigger the points in the color row that I got it. In this case, it was 6 victory points. Now, the thing is you can't ever go back up, okay? So if I decided to place a 5 later on down in the game, I couldn't get to the 5 in any way, shape, or form, okay? So it's almost kind of, you do want to keep in mind that if you go straight down, you have no opportunity to go back up. But I say that in the same breath that I have this person at a 5 because I chose to go to the 5, then to the 6, and I never had time. I didn't have time. But it did allow me some thought process in case, oh, well, if I don't set up something this circuit this round, it's okay because I have that as a fallback. So, because you always want to at least move one of your guys to get some type of victory points during the game. Okay, so then I'm going to draw a card back up. And then you're
going to backfill the tiles on the board with whatever. There'd normally be 8 stacks of tiles, and we would draft, and then the next player would take their turn. And you play 18 rounds because you have 18 cards in your deck, and you play your entire deck of cards. Now, there are other cards beyond just the multicolor ones.
Right, this is this one right here. So basically, it's a particular column symbol. So in this case, it's the huts. All right, so I can choose to get a hut anywhere in this. But what if it doesn't have a hut, Miranda? You say, well, that means I can choose whatever the crap I want. It's now a wild, okay? So I can basically say, well, guess what? It may have a hut on there. There's no hut available. I would really like this blue here. Knowing that I was going to end up moving it somewhere else. So, but just keep that in mind. If you don't have it, you can play it. There were many times I did that where it's like, oh, look, there's nothing active, so I'm going to play it so I get to pick what I want. So that was extremely helpful. And knowing that kind of going in, that it is kind of a strategic play on to when to play those if they're available.
After 18 rounds, you are going to score 5 points for each complete column you have. And you'll get 10 points minus the point value of the row. So your top one, which is the lowest scoring, at 1 point is actually worth more, at 2 points, is actually worth more than your bottom row, which is higher points as you play the game. So strategically, you'll want to fill the bottom row if you can, because you can move your people down and get 6 points. But at the end of the game, you get more points for filling in the higher rows.
Yeah, but then that means you're having to stop the low. Listen, you're going to skip them. I mean, there might be a way to get more points that way. So, I don't know. It just seems that's a lot of tiles for 8 points.
Yeah.
Considering you can get a 5 and a 6 and take them down. But yeah, so it keeps it interesting. I had relatively fun playing this. I actually really kind of liked it. It is a little on the, I don't want to say simple, but it's an easier game, easier to explain. But there is some strategic on what cards to play and how to flip them over and stuff. And I think
definitely
this is a good one.
I think it'll be better with the expansion added on. The expansion basically gives you bonuses for specific tiles. The one thing I did not like about this game is, to me, it seems like it should have been a penalty if you had to take a tile.
No, it shouldn't have.
If you had to take a tile and flip it over to the gardener's side, which is basically saying, I can't play it because that was out blocked. Instead, it's giving you a reward for taking that. And I don't like that. I thought that should have been the reverse.
No. Why?
Yes, it seems like you should be penalized for any gardeners you take, because it's basically simpler to do that. To draw one that's already played, you shouldn't be rewarded.
That's the whole point, though.
I thought that was kind of silly. I think it should have been a penalty that you got for every gardener.
No, because then I would have had a lot of penalty points.
That's why you didn't like it. I agree. That's why you didn't like it. Now,
no, I mean, but you had some gardeners too. So
very few compared to what you had.
Well, that's because I did mine on purpose, but I still lost. I was the last place, so I really don't know.
I mean, to me, the whole point of a game like this is to arrange your puzzle in such a way that you maximize the potential for whatever, and to have an out with a gardener that basically lets you place it anywhere in a given row or column.
So you don't like wilds?
I think the wilds were a little broken in this.
No, I don't think so. I was fine with it.
But, I do like the fact that on the expansion boards, they give you bonuses specifically for placing a specific type of tile. And so in some cases it's the actual tile. In some cases it's the gardener. Now,
see, I'd be fine with that, where it's kind of trying to get you to do something different. Like that would be fine. Now, I tell you what, I was tired last night. Didn't want anything extra. This one was good, where you're like,
and it does give you penalties in some cases for filling spaces, which I thought was interesting.
Well, it makes you go around it, right? So I mean, there's some value that might be added there.
Yeah.
But overall, I enjoyed it the way it was. I think it's a straightforward game if you're looking for a pretty straightforward puzzler. I think it's
very light puzzler. This is definitely
this is light.
This would definitely be a light game. It's not even light to medium. This is light.
Definitely light. But I enjoyed it as a light game. I think there's utility in it, just like Azul's light, but we can sit there and play that multiple times. So I think it's got some value. But what score would you give it?
I'm probably going to give it a 6.5. I didn't find it particularly that engaging, but for last night we were all pretty much brain dead, so I thought it was a good choice of a game for last night, and I stand by that decision. And there's nothing wrong with the game. I think it's fine. There's so many good puzzlers out there that, I don't think I'll get this one out to the table as much.
I'm going to give it a 7. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I enjoyed it. It was fun.
So, good.
7 for me. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We had an absolute blast today, and hopefully you'll come hang out with us again. We'll catch you later.
Bye. Sanssouci.
Are you sure it's not called Sasana?
No, there's an N before the S. How could it be Sasana?
Or
Sanssouci. It could be Sanssouci, but it's definitely...
I thought it was Irish. For English.
It doesn't say where Sanssouci is. There's no backstory. It's a puzzle game. Who could create the most majestic garden? That's all it says. But either way, it's Sanssouci. The N comes before the S.
Okay. You're going to say it. Got it?
Yeah, because if you say Sasana, nobody's going to know what the heck you're talking about.
Hello, everyone. Today we got to play this beautiful game.
Sanssouci.
So before we get started... There's words.
I think it's Sasana.
Shut up!
What?
I'm not... Listen. Not poking you. Not poking you. Poking you.
This is the maturity level I have to do it.